Okay, here's a question for you. What do sophisticated cars, cutting-edge medical devices, and maybe even some of your favorite electronics have in common? It might sound a bit strange, but the answer often involves, well, a rapidly growing, multi-billion-dollar global market for something called special rubber. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, yeah, we're taking a closer look at the global special rubber market. Our insights are coming straight from a pretty comprehensive industry report. And our mission for you, really, is to uncover the key trends, those impressive growth figures, and the fascinating regional shifts happening in this market. It's often overlooked, but it's incredibly significant. We want to give you a clear understanding of its global impact and, what its future might mean for all of us. So, special rubber. When you first hear that, maybe it doesn't sound like the most thrilling topic. But honestly, when you look at the sheer scale, the consistent growth of this specialized segment, it's actually quite remarkable. We're talking about a kind of quiet powerhouse really underpinning so much of modern industry.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating here is that special rubber isn't just, about being stretchy. These are high-performance elastomers. They're meticulously engineered for very specific, often incredibly demanding applications. Think about materials that need to work perfectly in extreme temperatures, or resist harsh chemicals, or maintain really precise mechanical integrity, like in a medical implant maybe, or an aircraft seal. That's
Yeah.
where this stuff comes in,
Yeah.
and its demand is surging globally precisely because, well, modern industries are constantly pushing the boundaries, right? They need materials that can perform way beyond what conventional rubber can handle.
Yeah, and the numbers, they absolutely back that story up. Globally, this market was already huge, bringing in over, $14.6 billion back in 2021.
Yes, thank
But the growth, it's far from over. The report projects it'll climb to around 17.5 billion by 2025. And then it really seems to pick up speed, forecast to exceed $25 billion by 2033. That's a strong compound annual growth rate, 4.6% year over year. It's
Mhm.
not just steady, it's like consistently building momentum.
Exactly. That 4.6 per 60 AGR is really solid for a market of this scale. It shows real, sustained demand.
Okay, so let's try and unpack this growth story, maybe region by region. Let's start with North America. The market there stood at around $3.9 billion in 2021, and the forecast puts it at roughly $6.5 billion by 2033. That's a pretty significant leap.
It really is a substantial increase.
And within North America, the United States, well, maybe as you'd expect, it really leads the charge, projected to grow its market from just over $3.2 billion to more than $5.3 billion.
Our dominant player there.
But you know what caught my eye? Mexico. While it's smaller in overall volume, of course, it's showing this really remarkable surge. It's nearly doubling its market from around $191 million to almost $380 million in that same time frame.
Mhm.
What did these specific numbers indicate? What about the industrial trends we're seeing in North America?
That's a great point about Mexico. The consistent growth, especially in the U.S., it points to a very robust, diversified industrial base.
Hmm.
There's ongoing innovation in sectors like advanced manufacturing, automotive, potentially even aerospace. These are big users of specialized components.
Okay.
Now, Mexico's impressive surge, almost doubling its market, like you said, that feels like a clear sign of, well, increased nearshoring trends, maybe, and also the expansion of its own domestic manufacturing capabilities. It's becoming a more critical player, it seems, in the regional supply chain for these high-performance materials.
Right, that makes sense. So from this sort of established industrial might of North America, let's cross the Atlantic. Let's see what story Europe tells. The European market, it was significant at roughly $3.6 billion in 2021, and it's projected to reach over $6 billion by 2033.
Still very substantial growth there, too.
Yeah, and major players like Germany and the UK, they're certainly contributing. Germany's market is set to exceed 1.1 billion. The UK approaching, 925 million by 2033?
The traditional powerhouses.
Exactly. But here's where it gets, I think, really interesting. While those traditional industrial nations show solid growth, the rest of Europe category,
Yeah.
it's actually boasting the highest regional CAGR, over 6%. It's essentially more than doubling its market, going from around 525 million to over 1.1 billion in that period.
Wow, yeah.
What could be driving such, diverse growth patterns across Europe, and especially that big surge in the rest of Europe?
Yeah, that really does raise an important question, doesn't it, about the evolving industrial landscape in Europe. Well, established nations like Germany and the UK, they maintain strong positions, likely driven by their, advanced manufacturing automotive sectors.
Sure.
That remarkable surge in the rest of Europe indicates something broader is happening. It could signal, perhaps, a diversification of manufacturing hubs, maybe increased investment in new technologies, or even the expansion of more niche industries across a wider range of, let's say, smaller European economies.
Hmm.
So it suggests that the demand for special rubber isn't just confined to the traditional big players anymore. It's spreading out, reflecting maybe a broader industrial maturation across the continent.
That's a fascinating insight. Really interesting. Okay, let's turn our attention now to the incredibly dynamic Asia-Pacific region, which, as the numbers show, is really leading the global charge here.
Oh yeah, big time.
This market grew from just over 5.2 billion in 2021,
Hmm.
and it's projected to hit an astounding 9.2 billion dollars by 2033. That makes it the largest regional market by, well, quite a margin.
Absolutely dominant.
And China, I mean, it's probably no surprise, is the absolute market leader here, set to grow its special rubber market from roughly 2.1 billion to nearly 3.9 billion dollars. That's almost a doubling right there. It
A
means China alone will account for a massive chunk of the regional market.
huge portion, yeah.
India is also a really significant contributor. It's set to nearly double its market, too, from over 850 million to almost 1.6 billion.
Oh.
And then you've got Japan, South Korea, Southeast Asia, also showing very strong growth.
Mhm. Strong across the board there.
So what's driving this really robust expansion in Asia Pacific, and specifically China's continued leadership? What are the implications for global manufacturing?
Well, Asia-Pacific's robust growth isn't really a surprise, is it? Given its role as kind of the global manufacturing engine.
Right.
China's leadership is a clear indicator of its massive industrial output, its rapid technological advancement, and its strong domestic demand, across booming sectors like electronics, automotive, construction. What's significant here, I think, is that this region isn't just consuming special rubber, it's also a major producer for the world,
Oh, okay.
which makes it a pivotal hub. So this growth has profound implications for global supply chains.
Yeah.
And it really highlights the increasing interconnectedness of global manufacturing, where these specialized materials are truly foundational,
Yeah.
foundational to innovation across countless industries.
Foundational, yeah. That's a good word for it. Okay, let's explore the market's path in South America now. It's smaller in scale, obviously, compared to the giants we just discussed, but it's still showing consistent growth, moving from around 643 million in 2021 to over 927 million by 2033.
Still moving upward steadily.
Yeah. Brazil leads the way within the region. Its market's growing from around 287 million to over 420 million. Argentina also shows solid progress, approaching 129 million by 2033. What are the sort of unique growth drivers at play in South America for special rubber?
Yeah, the growth drivers specific to South America, they often seem linked to its primary industries. You see significant demand coming from resource extraction sectors,
Yeah.
things like mining, oil and gas.
Right, harsh conditions.
Exactly. They require extremely durable, specialized components to withstand those really tough operating conditions. Plus, there's a growing automotive sector, particularly in places like Brazil. That's a key driver. And just general infrastructure development across the continent also boosts demand for advanced materials.
Okay, that makes sense. Moving on to the Middle East now, we see quite significant market expansion there for special rubber. The region's market is projected to grow from around 848 million in 2021 to over 1.6 billion by 2033. That's nearly doubling in size.
Another region showing really strong growth percentage-wise?
Definitely. Highlights here include Turkey, which is set to nearly double its market from 225 million to over 419 million. And Saudi Arabia and the UAE also showing substantial growth, both more than doubling their markets, actually. What specific industries or developments are contributing to this growth in the Middle East?
Well, this impressive growth in the Middle East,
Yep.
it seems largely driven by ambitious infrastructure projects and also the region's strong push towards economic diversification, moving away from just traditional oil economies.
Right, that diversification push is key.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Many of these nations are investing heavily in developing new manufacturing sectors, expanding their construction industries, even emerging tech ventures. And all of these activities, they require high-performance materials like special rubber, whether it's for building smart cities, manufacturing new components, or even in the expanding automotive markets there.
Got it. Okay, finally, let's conclude our regional analysis with Africa. Now, the overall market size is currently smaller, yes, but it's still showing robust growth, increasing from around 395 million in 2021 to nearly $745 million by 2033.
Still almost doubling over that period.
Yeah, absolutely. Key country contributions include South Africa, growing from roughly 180 million to over 338 million, and Nigeria, which is said to nearly double its market from around 70 million to over 136 million. What's your sort of final perspective on the growth within the African market for special rubber?
Well, the consistent growth within the African market, it really reflects the continent's ongoing development across various sectors.
Huh?
We're seeing increased investment in infrastructure, definitely, a burgeoning manufacturing base in certain regions,
Mm.
and even, nascent automotive industries starting to emerge.
Mm.
So while the overall numbers might seem smaller compared to other continents, that steady upward trend, it signals a growing industrialization and increasing demand for advanced materials as these economies mature and diversify. It
Yeah.
really highlights the global reach of this specialized market, doesn't it?
It really does. So, bringing it all back together,
Yeah.
what does this all mean for you listening in? We started this deep dive exploring what seemed like maybe a niche product, special rubber, and we've tracked its truly impressive global journey. From around 14.6 billion in 2021, the global special rubber market is set to exceed $25 billion by 2033. It's really a testament to the quiet power of these specialized materials and how they underpin so much of our modern world.
Absolutely. This widespread, consistent growth in a market like this for specialized materials, it truly signifies how fundamentally reliant modern life is on advanced engineering. Special rubber, despite its name, it's far from mundane. It's kind of an unsung hero.
Yeah.
It underpins so much of what we think of as technological advancements. The reliability of our cars, our medical devices, the durability of our everyday electronics. This deep dive really highlights that interconnectedness, doesn't it, between global economies and material sciences, where innovation in one seemingly small area can have these profound ripple effects, enabling progress across entire industries worldwide.
Mm.
It's a powerful reminder, I think, that often the most significant changes are enabled by these vital, yet often unseen components.
That's such a critical point. Unseen components enabling big changes. So maybe next time you interact with something that feels surprisingly durable or
Yeah.
precise or highly specialized, whether it's, I don't know, a vital component in your car, maybe a seal on a medical device, or even just those perfectly responsive buttons on your TV remote, take a moment. Consider the silent, growing market of special rubber working away behind the scenes. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other hidden markets are out there quietly shaping our world right now, just waiting for us to uncover their immense impact? Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you're now better informed and maybe a little more curious about the remarkable materials that quite literally build our world. Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today, we're taking your sources and getting into a part of the industrial world you might not think about much, but it's really key, the special rubber market. We've looked at some solid data, and honestly, what's going on here is pretty interesting.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. I mean, from the tires on your car, sure, but also like the screen on your smartphone. Specialized rubber is doing its thing in the background in ways you might not even realize.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to look at the forces at play, what's pushing this market forward, what's holding it back, and, get a sense of where things are going. Understanding this isn't just about specific material science, it's about how these innovations sort of quietly make possible so much of our everyday tech and the future of some really critical industries.
Okay, so looking at the data then, what's really standing out? What's like the big driver for all this demand? Are there any surprises in where we're seeing growth? Well, the automotive and aerospace sectors are definitely huge factors. I mean, just think about it. You need materials like silicone, right? Stuff that can handle really extreme temperatures, hot and cold, or fluorocarbon rubber, which is essential for resisting harsh chemicals. And these aren't just, basic rubber bands. They're engineered very precisely for critical parts.
Like what specifically?
Like gaskets in a jet engine. They have to deal with temperatures hotter than lava, basically. Or the seals inside an electric vehicle battery pack, managing all that heat. It's serious stuff.
Wow, okay. That's pretty intense. And outside of cars and planes, where else is this specialized rubber having a big effect, even if we don't necessarily see it?
Well, if you connect that to the bigger picture, industrial machinery and equipment is another huge area, particularly in developing economies. Heavy machinery needs rubber that can basically survive a chemical spill or just constant grinding wear and tear.
Makes sense.
And then there's consumer electronics. These materials are a key part of insulating covers, shock absorption, those flexible connectors. They let our gadgets get smaller, lighter,
Mhm.
but also more powerful because they handle heat and electricity so well.
Right, keeping things cool and safe.
Exactly. Plus, you've got the boom in infrastructure and construction, especially in places like Asia and the Middle East. That's driving demand for types like EPDM rubber.
EPDM.
Yeah, it's known for being incredibly weather resistant, great for waterproofing, think roofing, window seals, that sort of thing.
Okay, so lots of demand drivers.
Mhm.
But it sounds like it's not all straightforward. What are the main challenges, the roadblocks this market is facing?
Oh, it definitely faces some real hurdles. One constant headache is the cost of raw materials just jumping around all the time. Many of these special rubbers come from petroleum feedstocks or natural rubber, so they're really sensitive to oil price swings, supply chain issues, geopolitical stuff.
Yeah, you can imagine like the whole global economy messing with your supply chain.
Pretty much. And
Yeah.
that volatility is a big deal.
And that really highlights the competition too, doesn't it? I mean, you mentioned these are precisely engineered.
Right, which means higher production costs. You need advanced curing methods,
Yeah.
special additives. It makes them more expensive than standard rubber. So for applications where cost is the absolute bottom line, it can be a tough sell.
And then there are the environmental rules.
Absolutely. Environmental and regulatory pressures are significant, especially in Europe and North America. You have strict rules like REACH
That's the chemical regulation one, right?
yeah,
Registration, evaluation, authorization.
and restriction of chemicals. Yeah, that really pushes manufacturers towards safer, more sustainable materials and processes. It adds complexity and cost.
And is there competition from totally different materials too?
Yes, that's a big one. We're seeing a real substitution threat from high-performance plastics and composites. Often, these newer materials might offer better strength for their weight or more durability in certain situations. They're definitely making inroads in areas like aerospace and machinery, where special rubber used to be the default choice.
Okay, so challenges aplenty. But the market isn't just sitting there, right? It's adapting, changing. What are some of the interesting new things happening?
Well, what's really fascinating is how much innovation is going on. A major shift is the push towards bio-based and recyclable rubber alternatives. Think bio-based EPDM, for example. This is driven by the global demand for sustainability, the circular economy. It's moving from a niche interest to a core requirement for many customers.
And it's not just about finding greener materials, but also making them fit very specific needs.
Exactly. Customization is absolutely key now. Manufacturers are creating totally bespoke rubber compounds designed for very specific jobs. So maybe it's an FDA-approved silicone for food processing equipment or a special flame-retardant rubber for buses or trains that helps protect people in a fire. This kind of precision opens up whole new possibilities.
And thinking about those big industry shifts, electric vehicles seem to be changing everything. How's that playing out here?
Oh, it's a huge shift. The rise of EVs is dramatically reshaping demand. EVs need all sorts of specialized materials that can insulate components, resist different chemicals, manage heat, especially around the battery systems and all the wiring.
So special rubber is critical for EVs to even work properly and safely.
Absolutely critical. It's
Yeah.
literally enabling the performance and safety features of these next-gen vehicles. It's a massive growth area.
And one last thing, technology. How is something like digitalization changing how these things are actually made?
Yeah, digitalization is really changing the whole manufacturing game. Think about digital twin simulations. Engineers can basically build and test a virtual version of a new rubber compound. They can stress it under extreme conditions, all on a computer.
Before making anything physical.
Exactly. It can cut development time by years sometimes and drastically reduce material waste because you find problems before you make physical prototypes.
Yeah.
It's a huge boost for speed and efficiency.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? The special rubber market, it's clear, is incredibly dynamic. It's playing this really vital role in everything from cars and electronics to, especially now, that booming EV space.
Right. And what's so interesting here is seeing how these material innovations, often hidden from view, are actually making so much of the progress we see all around us possible. Innovation is clearly the key to getting past the challenges and unlocking more growth. Things like bio-based materials, digitalization, they're leading the charge.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How often are these advanced materials, like specialized rubbers, the sort of unsung heroes behind the tech and infrastructure we just take for granted every day? Makes you wonder, what other invisible materials are out there quietly shaping our world and maybe going through similar kinds of changes and challenges right now? Something to ponder.